Hotwire for quite a while in a number of different roles. Just to give some background, Hotwire is one of the online travel agencies that was referenced in one of the earlier talks. We are very price focused. We are a discounter, and our brand value is to really offer low prices you can't find anywhere else. And with that, we have a slightly different business model where we show what we call opaque inventory. So when hotels or rental car agencies have extra inventory that they can't unload, they use Hotwire, and in exchange for getting the really low price, the user gives up some information. They may not know the brand or the exact location or star rating, for example, or they'll know the star rating. They may not know the brand or the exact location or specific details about the hotel they're getting, but this will be in exchange for low prices that you can't find anywhere else. And it works really well with the mobile channel. So we'll talk about that. I also previously was the head of our media and monetization business. I'm going to be giving some examples today from both the web and mobile space, and so I will be talking about a little bit of the media channel. And then prior to that, the bulk of my career was spent leading user experience teams through UX strategy and design. And so today, what I'm going to be focusing on is how you can leverage user experience to really boost your revenue. So when I started at Hotwire in 2006, I was the director of user experience, and that ad up at the top right was really bothering me. We knew that display ads were harmful to the brand, but it was really hard to prove it from a numbers perspective, and it was producing revenue for the business, and so we were in a situation where in order to actually remove it, we had to either fight to get buy-in without hard data or come up with something that would replace that revenue. So that's what we did. We came up with this product. It was a comparison shopping tool, and it allowed us to use the space in a more efficient way. It was integrated with the page, and it was repositioned to customers as something to support them in their travel research and their booking process. So what would happen is the user would say, you know what, I see this price here, but I'm going to shop on another site and check to see if the price is the best price out there before I book. And I'll just walk through the step-by-step process for how we were able to increase our revenue from this. And then I'll deconstruct how this can be applied to your web or mobile solutions. So a user does a search for a flight, hotel, or car. The user sees the Hotwire's great price, but thinks, let me see if this is a good deal. I don't know for sure. The user notices the compare with other sites located on the top of the results page, and thinks, okay, this is right here, it's easy. Hotwire must have the lowest price, otherwise they wouldn't allow me to check with another site, but I'm going to check anyway. And the user would select on average of 3 checkboxes. We knew this because we had data externally that told us that users would want to shop on multiple sites. And as we rolled out this tool, we saw how many. And we would deep link to the results page on one of our competitor sites. And then what would happen is we would get paid for that click. So we were using a CPA or a CPC model, depending on the partner. And this is similar to what we were using with the display ad, except for it actually provided value to our customer. So our first trick would be to know your customer's behavior. And really, this is important in the success of this, is understanding that, hey, here are all these travel partners, travel websites or carriers or hotels. And if I put it out there, how many of you, when you're planning your travel, if you're booking a flight or booking a hotel, visit multiple sites? Yeah, so that's a good portion of the room. So we wanted to understand that about our customers. We know that they're shopping around. So how can we leverage that? And really, that was to collect payment on searches initiated from Hotwire. So if the user is deciding they want to leave Hotwire and book somewhere else, they probably weren't going to book with us anyway. At least we were able to collect something from them. And then we also were able to trust our value proposition, which is low prices you can't find anywhere else. If you trust your value proposition, you can really reinforce your brand. So here's a little quote from Twitter. "Thanks, I'll check out Hotwire. Anyone who can suggest and make it easy to check for competitors has no fear." We really believed in our value proposition and our offering, and we were able to take that and really build confidence that Hotwire offers the best prices. So those customers that didn't want to book with us, fine. They weren't going to book with us anyway. We'll monetize this revenue. And then the customers that were going to book with us have a little more faith and feel like we're actually supporting their purchase process by making it easier for them to check elsewhere. So if you have a value proposition, you really should lean into that and try to leverage that as much as possible and really trust that it's going to work. So in this particular situation, why did it work so well? We knew a lot of users cross-shop. We treated this as a feature rather than as an ad, and really trying to understand the user mentality and leveraging the design to make it integrated and as a feature rather than some auxiliary content on the page. And we designed it to highlight our exclusive opaque inventory. So you'll see that there are windows stacking up here, and from the user experience perspective, stacking windows is actually a no-no. We don't like Windows management issues. But from talking to our customers, they actually believed that we were giving them real data from our competitors when we opened a new window. When we actually incorporated it into the page, they thought we were somehow manipulating the information. So we took that step there. And then, of course, our sales team would negotiate competitive CPC rates with our partners, which is how we were actually able to build out revenue here, which resulted in a 2,000% increase in revenue over 3 years. So we had this display ad that we felt like damaged the user experience, didn't support the customer's mindset, and we were able over time to really build up a business. And the 2,000% increase wasn't just this tool, but what it did was it unlocked a whole line of business for the organization, and we built out our monetization business starting from this comparison module. So switching gears to mobile, we have a mobile presence on the mobile web, and we have a native app. And we launched a mobile website first back in 2009. And initially, we were using an external vendor, a scraping solution. And we were able to really learn how mobile was working, collect data from our customers, and really justify building out a mobile team. So we've relaunched our mobile website. It's now an award-winning site. And we launched that at the beginning of 2012. And we have a whole team built in-house that's working on that. Late last year, we launched our native app. And it's focused on hotels. And it's really focused around satisfying our repeat customers and really leaning into what their needs are. And we were able to do this by really learning from the mobile web what value there is there to them and what their needs were, and then taking that and applying it to the native app. Just as a side note on if you're choosing between mobile web and native apps and what to do first, we really found a lot of value in starting with the mobile web. We're a web company. We have web developers. We know how to build for the web. Learning to code for native iOS engineers, hard to hire, hard skill to learn. So we wanted to start somewhere where we were comfortable. We also have all these marketing programs for our website that were built in, and you could really take advantage of those right off the bat with the mobile web. And then lastly, it really covers all bases, all devices, whereas you really have to make choices when you're building for a native app and how you're going to leverage those resources. So lots of reasons to start with mobile web. So trick number 3, focus. Everyone talks about focus. Steve Jobs, you hear Kevin Systrom from Instagram talk about how important it is to say no. And I want to talk about focus in the context of understanding our customers and their mindsets. So we have 3 different types of customers in their unique environments. So we have our desktop customer up in the left, who's at work, visiting Hotwire while he's at work, and he's visiting us in the middle of the day. He's probably doing research a little further out. And then, we jokingly talk about our mobile customer, but this isn't really I think, the most accurate picture. But mobile, we see a lot of last minute. You heard the IHG reference to how important last minute is for hotel bookings. It's really important for Hotwire as well. Over 80% of our bookings on mobile are same day for hotel. Whereas with our desktop customer, it's about 25%. So you can start to really break this down and see the differences in the mindset of customers. So mobile, they're out there last minute. Maybe it's a weekend and you want a last minute getaway. Maybe you're out at the bar and you don't want to drive home. And then for tablet, we're seeing it this late at night, browsing. It's somewhere in between the two, but this sort of lean back mentality of I'm doing two things at once, maybe watching TV and surfing Hotwire, or maybe I'm starting to think about my next trip, or maybe I'm just ready to go book for later today on my business trip. So you can really leverage this as an opportunity. We've talked about, for example, with tablet, how there's small tweaks you can make to make it more optimized for the tablet. But stepping further than that, how is the mindset of a tablet customer or a smartphone user different than from your desktop? And really getting into that and starting to build an experience that's customized around those particular needs and that particular moment and mindset. So we quickly learned that last minute bookings were huge for us and very different than our desktop user. And so we started out on the left here with a get a room tonight button. And we initially didn't have anything there, but we saw that the searches were happening for that night. We added the button, and we continued to tweak it. Like we wanted to call it out and make it easy. And then we've evolved to what's on the right, where we basically found that people were clicking on the button, but they didn't totally understand. Some people would say, well, no, I just want to search for a hotel. So how can we optimize on the experience and improve it? So we call out your location. We default it to your location. We default the date to tonight for one night, because we know that when people are booking last minute, it's usually for one night, and really trying to optimize that experience for them and make it as easy as possible. So really understanding what the core mindset is for that platform. And then switching over to our native app, we even took it a step further. And if you're searching for tonight, we're figuring out where you are and plopping you on a map in the context of the hotels and neighborhoods around you and how you can search that way. We have this neighborhood concept because we don't give the hotel a name. So we give you the neighborhood that the hotel is in. And so we really plotted those neighborhoods around where your actual location is, so you have an understanding of what's near me right now. So next is removing unnecessary features. The worst thing you could do to your customer is take your desktop site and all of its features and dump it on your smartphone. This will really alienate your customers. So I would really encourage everyone to go through their existing site with a fine-tooth comb and say, what can I get rid of? And we really tried to simplify. And you can see we have our desktop hotel search results on the left, and it's in need of improvement. There's a lot going on there. And then we have our native app hotel results on the right. And at every level, there are differences. So you can see this comparison tool that I talked about earlier on the upper right of the desktop version is not anywhere to be seen. What do customers want when they're booking on mobile? They want the price, the star rating, the location, and the % recommend. And we actually tested all of the little information cues that we give in the results to say what is most valuable to this customer. They were less concerned about amenities. They wanted % recommend. And rather than clutter up the space, they want to make it as easy as possible for them to make a decision. We also, again, leaned into our value proposition. We have these hot rates, our opaque inventory, and that's really core to our business. So we really focused on that. We have these standard rates as well, which is where we show the hotel name and the brand name, and it's consistent with what you see on other sites. And we felt that it wasn't as critical. People weren't necessarily coming to Hotwire for that as much when they're on their smartphone. So we really decided to focus on just the hot rates. And it has been pretty significant for us. We have a huge share of our business now and growing regularly coming to mobile. We're seeing almost 15% of our hotel bookings are on mobile now, and that's with this kind of information. So really try to simplify and understand what each feature or each piece of content, what value it adds to not just any customer, but specifically the mobile customer in their mindset. And finally, I can't emphasize enough how important speed is when you're looking at mobile. You have to assume your customer's network stacks. I mean, you don't know where they are, you don't know what their connectivity is like, and you want to make it as fast as possible for them. So I mentioned that we had an earlier version of our mobile website was a scraping solution. It wasn't very fast, and which is often how scraping solutions are. And then we rebuilt with an HTML5 site last year, and we were able to improve our speed dramatically. You can see that we went from like 23 seconds for search time to 7 seconds. And at times, it was even faster than our desktop site because there was less imagery, less content we were pulling at any point in time. And we saw an increase in conversion of over 20%. So implementation really matters. So if you're a product person, a user experience person, really work with your engineers and allow them to go the extra mile to improve the speed of your site, because it is critical on mobile. But from the experience perspective, you also have to think about what you can do to improve the speed. And by seeing this improvement in conversion, we were actually able to really lean in on certain features. We save login information for customers, credit card information. We reduced the flow to 4 taps to make it as easy as possible to get through the purchase path. Leveraging GPS search technology, anything you can do, pre-populating fields, to make it easier for your customer to get through more quickly, because it's going to have an improvement on the conversion, particularly in the mobile space. So finally, I just want to summarize the 5 tips or tricks you can use. Know your customer's behavior. This is so important. And trust your value proposition. If you don't trust your value proposition, maybe you should reevaluate what that is and redefine as a business. Really focus on what your customer wants and needs in that particular moment. Customers are using your desktop, mobile, and tablet and hitting you at any point in time, and really understand what the mindset is at that particular point in time and try to really leverage that in your design and experience. Remove unnecessary features, make it as easy as possible for them to get through, and don't add all this auxiliary content if it's not necessary. And speed matters. It's really, really important. Thanks. Does anyone have any questions?
On my way.
What percentage of your traffic is device hopping? So going from their PC to tablet to phone, et cetera. Is that something prevalent in your industry or not?
It is prevalent in our industry. I couldn't give you a specific number, but it is very prevalent. Travel by nature is mobile. So you're planning your travel sometimes when you're at home, or you're researching for a trip, but you're not necessarily ready to book. You're on your flight, you're looking something up, you get to your destination, maybe last minute you want to look at something and you're on the road. So it definitely goes across all platforms, and it's pretty significant.
Thank you.
You mentioned you guys did a lot of testing when you were seeing which features to actually surface to users. Is that, it's kind of a 2-part question. Did you do that when y'all were still site scraping and that was easier in that manner? Or were you actually developing individual functionalities and different iterations to push out? And then what platform did y'all use for MV testing?
So we did multiple types of testing. One was user research and really getting, sorry, I thought that was me. We did a lot of user research up front to really get the qualitative feedback on what was important to our customers. And then we also do A/B testing to get the more quantitative data on what's driving more conversions. So to answer the first part of your question, were we doing that when we were scraping? We were not doing the A/B testing when we were scraping. It was just too difficult to figure out how to do that with the scraping solution and having an external vendor. And I think we lost a lot of revenue that way, but we were out talking to customers and just really understanding what they prefer. We do have tools that allow customers to give feedback in the booking process, like Opinion Lab as well, which would allow us to get sort of anecdotal feedback from customers, and we could bucket those. So we had, user research labs, things like Opinion Lab, and then also A/B testing. And then once we brought it in-house, we did a lot of A/B testing, a lot of version testing to understand what improvement, and just tweaks, lots of tweaks.
This question here.
Melissa, two questions, related questions. First off, you went into the decision to go native versus HTML, and it gave all the reasons why, starting off with a web app, but then you showed a native app that you built. So the decision making and why you chose to go that way, and secondly, once you have it, are you doing any special marketing of that app today, or just expecting people to find it on their own?
Sure. So we launched our first mobile website in late 2009 or early 2010, right around then, and we launched our native app at the end of 2012, or October 2012. So there was quite a gap in between, and we felt that there was value by focusing on native for our customers. So we look at MWeb as, hey, let's cover all of our customers' needs across all customer devices, and really, get the basics. So we're gonna make it easy for them to purchase and get the transaction done in that mindset. But with native, you have the opportunity to narrow in and really focus and give a very specific, customized experience. And so, we chose to go with iPhone, and we said, hey, we have a certain group of customers that are using us every week, and they have very specific needs, and they're talking to us and telling us what they want. And so let's create an experience for them that's just customized on that. So we really wanted to build loyalty and really improve satisfaction with the native app in a way that it was more difficult to do with the mobile web. We didn't want to have a ton of conditions and variations on the mobile website. With the native, you can do things like more easily, because you're gated a little bit with the App Store, so you have a little bit more flexibility to take a little bit more risk. So we're seeing our native app penetration grow, and we haven't done a ton of paid marketing. We have been just leveraging our email marketing programs and our mobile website and our desktop website to communicate that we have this. And it's worked really well so far. We're seeing it grow. We have over a 4-star rating in the App Store. So people seem to like it, and it's really stripped down. It's only our hotel product. We offer air, hotel, car, cruise, vacation packages. We really kept it narrow and focused initially.
Not using the capability to, if people go to the mobile website and see it, to say, hey, you can download this app if you recognize it's an iOS device, or you're not doing that at the moment?
We are working on doing that. We wanted to confirm before we started doing that actually we weren't cannibalizing any, because we have a completely different experience from a purchase path perspective. So we wanted to make sure that we weren't cannibalizing that flow, that purchase process and those numbers, since it's a different flow. And now we're going to be pushing more traffic towards it.
Thanks, Melissa. As you were building out your HTML5 solution, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you made that we can help avoid?
I'm sorry, that what?
That we can avoid.
Oh, okay. That's a great question. I can actually, rather than talk about the mistakes, I can talk about what was really important to us that we almost had issues with. We've launched our product internationally only within the last several years. So we were able to build from the ground up this new platform for mobile web. We did not leverage APIs to power our mobile website, and part of the challenge at the time was we didn't have all of our APIs built out. So our situation is, now that we have a desktop site that's maybe a little bit older technology, We have our mobile website, which is new technology built directly on our platform. And then we have this new native app where we have APIs powering it. So we sort of have our technology in different stages. As we look to build out a tablet website, how do we approach that? With the international piece, we really wanted to build it in a way that was more efficient to localize content as we roll out to new countries. And so we tried to take that look and that approach right away. And then really just making sure, from a speed perspective, we started out, we had, from a speed perspective, we had our analytics tagging and our images. We were doing them in a lighter way than we were on the desktop site, but we have since gone back and even improved further for how we can optimize our images and our communication with our analytics tools. Okay.
Any additional questions? Okay, great. Thank you, Melissa.
Great. Thank you.